The paradox we are about to explore is called the infinite regression of proofs. It whispers an unsettling question beneath the calm surface of certainty. If every proof requires another proof beneath it, then where does the chain end? Imagine a tower built not upward, but downward, layer after layer, foundation upon foundation, digging into endless darkness. Each claim we hold must rest firmly upon something else, yet that something also demands proof, drawing us into a spiral with no visible bottom. This paradox invites us to gaze into infinity, not in the vastness of space, but in the quiet depths of our own reasoning, where certainty slips just beyond reach, and the need for proof becomes an endless echo fading into silence. There is a strange comfort in knowing that every truth we hold is supported by a history of proofs woven together like threads of an invisible tapestry. Yet, when asked what supports the very proof itself, we encounter a riddle without a clear resolution. It is as if logic folds back upon itself, reaching into its own shadow. The infinite regression of proofs reminds us that knowledge is not a static mountain, but a delicate dance, a place where every step relies on the one before it, but where the first step remains elusive. This infinite descent challenges the very foundations of certainty and forces us to wonder if some truths are meant to remain forever just beyond grasp. Elias is a young philosophy student, absorbed in the twilight hours of a long night. Surrounded by scattered notebooks and flickering candlelight, he wrestles with the question whispered in the margins of his paper. What proves the proof? His face, pale in the soft glow, reflects quiet exhaustion, but also a spark of relentless curiosity. This simple, haunting question settles like a shadow in his mind, growing heavier with every thought. In that still moment, Elias becomes a traveler on a road winding endlessly downward, each step stirring a deeper uncertainty that stirs the heart of his restless study. With the night stretching around him like a soft cloak, Elias leans back from his desk and stares into the dim light suspended above. His thoughts scatter like floating dust motes, drifting between certainty and doubt. The question, once a small echo, now fills the room. What proves the proof? His pen hesitates, hovering over the page where answers seem to recede like smoke. Elias feels the tug of the infinite, the weight of a truth that resists capture. He senses that this paradox is not just academic, but a quiet ache in the human soul, the hunger to know, intertwined with the impossibility of complete proof. As Elias continues to write, the spiral tightens. Each proof he scribbles demands another beneath it, like pages in an endless book that he cannot finish reading. The more he tries to find solid ground, the more it dissolves beneath him. This growing tension mirrors a deeper unrest. How can certainty exist if the chain of proof stretches on forever? His mind loops again and again, tracing the path of arguments that never settle, like shadows chasing themselves in a dimly lit room. Elias senses the paradox is not only a problem of logic but a reflection of the limits inherent in searching for ultimate truth. The night grows deep, and Elias's struggle becomes more palpable. He imagines building a tower of proofs, each level precariously balanced on another, and feels the vertigo of descent without end. His hands tremble as he sketches arrows linking one claim to the next, knowing each must rest on something implicitly accepted. The paradox reveals its subtle cruelty. If proof demands unending proof, then we live forever suspended above a bottomless void. With quiet desperation, Elias faces the chilling realization that no foundation may ever truly be found, and that the pursuit of certainty can itself become an endless chase without rest. In the still silence, Elias allows himself to pause and breathe. The infinite regression no longer feels like imprisonment, but rather a mirror held up to human thought. He contemplates the possibility of stopping somewhere, choosing to rest the chain on a belief accepted rather than proven. It becomes clear that where we draw the line says more about who we are than the logic itself. Elias sees that every mind marks its own boundary of certainty, shaped by trust, intuition, and experience. The paradox gently fades from menace to mystery, inviting reflection on the delicate balance between searching and surrender. A subtle shift takes place in Elias's understanding as the candlelight flickers against the worn pages of his book. He perceives three distinct paths that thinkers have taken to escape the infinite loop, foundations set firmly on self-evident truths, webs of belief supporting each other without end, and endless chains extending into infinity. Each feels fragile, yet necessary. These approaches are less about final answers and more about the human need to create meaning. Elias senses that paradox itself is not a trap, but a guide, showing that the search for proof is also the search for trust, faith, and the quiet spaces where the mind can rest. In the quiet hours before dawn, Elias lets his pen drift away from the endless spiral of proofs. He closes his notebook slowly and gazes out into the gentle darkness, where shadows blend and dissolve. The infinite regression of proofs has become a companion rather than a tormentor, a silent invitation to accept the limits of knowing. As he lies down to rest, the paradox lingers softly like a whispered question that never demands an answer. It seems to ask, if you must choose, where will you place your final step in the infinite descent? In evidence, in trust, or in surrender to the mystery beyond? And now, as you lie here in the warm quiet, drifting through the shadows of your own thoughts, ask yourself gently, where do you stop the chain of proof? Is your final step grounded in something tangible, a belief held by evidence, or in the quiet authority of trust? Or do you find comfort in letting go, accepting that at the edge of certainty lies an endless ocean of questions without end? This paradox invites us all to wonder, not to solve, but to hold space for the beautiful uncertainty that colors our beliefs and dreams. Where will you draw your final line as you drift into sleep?